This is Brindlewood Bay Last Resort Part 3. Let's do a bit of recap. Let me share the sheet as well in case anyone needs it. Do that first. There we go. Okay. Our current mystery is called All Hallows Scream. And what happened in this one is that the Mavens were attending a Halloween party being hosted by Coco and Abner Vidal, a couple that is a transplant from Hollywood. Abner was a B horror movie director, and the party, is going fine, fairly small gathering, and Abner turns up dead. To quote the chat, something fishy went down. Abner turned up in the shark tank, floating, bobbing along like an apple. And so we got to figure out who did it. I think, if I recall correctly, Sheriff Dalrymple said basically don't let anyone leave. So and that means begin the investigation. So here are the suspects we currently have. We have Coco Vidal, of course. She's Abner's wife, and a reminder, she is dressed as Cleopatra for Halloween for the party. We have Gordon Thune, who is the local banker. He's dressed as Frankenstein's monster. Gordon is really judgy about the Vidals. He likes their money, but not them. June Willoughby, who we've met a few times, is a local socialite. She's dressed in a sort of poodle skirt, sock hop kind of outfit. Marcus Greaves is Abner's old manager from Los Angeles, in town, presumably to convince Abner to come back to Hollywood. He keeps making that case to Abner, we learned. He's not dressed as anything except a Hollywood agent. Sam Turlington is Abner's local business partner. They were doing some real estate deals together, and he is dressed as the Phantom of the Opera. We have the maid, who we have not named yet, or I know her name, but her name is Mrs. White, and she is wearing a cat ear headband. She's also kind of gone missing, apparently. We haven't seen her in a bit. And then we have Elena Visage, who is an actress dressed as a vampiress. Elena was sort of the star of Abner's films. So was Coco. One of these characters ended up dead at the end. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Sam, right? Was it Sam who ended up dead? Or was it Marcus? Who can recall?
Maybe both of them are dead.
I don't think so. I think we need to figure it out, though, before we continue. So let me, listen, viewers of the video, we're going to pause the video momentarily while we go investigate who is dead character. What's that?
While we solve the mystery of last week's episode.
Yeah, one moment. Okay, we're back. Sam Turlington, the local business partner, is dead. He was being interrogated in the Tinseltown room, and the music stopped, the lights went out, and there was some sound of a struggle, and the lights came back on, and he is quite dead. And that is where the session ended. And so you have one clue currently for this Complexity 6 mystery, which now just got more complex because or maybe less complex, depending on how you look at it, now that another character is dead. But basically, you found some old photos of good times in Hollywood thrown in the trash. So that is your single clue. Taking a look at the Mavens themselves, in terms of conditions, B is in the clear. LMA has 3 conditions: shaken, chilled to the bone, and catch of the day. And Violet has the descent and jailbird. Jailbird can't be shaked until I say so. So with all that said, any other questions or anything else before we go?
Just a question that I'm assuming we can't do any cozy moves right now since we're...
You'd have to really be creative about it because you have to be doing your hobby, your cozy activity. Yeah. Let's resume the story then. So, shake, rattle, and roll, and the lights come back on, and Sam Turlington is dead, And this is where we are picking up the story. So I think just to make this easy, everyone gathers in the Tinseltown room who's still alive to see Sam there dead. And Coco is beside herself. She says, "Oh, this party is really not turning out how I thought it was going to."
I want to look at the face of everybody and see who is surprised and who is not.
So you're carefully scanning all the suspects.
Yes.
I'll take that. Do the meddling move with reason.
B wasn't in on the original interrogation of his wife, and Coco just being so very blasé about, I didn't think this would go this way when dead people are dropping everywhere around here. I'm just trying to suss out her intentions. I'm watching her very carefully.
Okay. That might get to a meddling move level. We'll see.
I got 13.
13. Wow. Okay. Oh, I didn't mention in the recap that you do have 3 void clues towards the dark conspiracy as well. Those all came from last time, but you have learned a couple of interesting historical facts about the town. The first is that it was essentially founded back in the late 1800s when a ship called the Deep Reaver pulled up a very unusual whale and sold its parts all over the world. And we know that the Krauses from the last mystery had family on that boat. Their ancestors were on that boat, Mr. Krauses. And we also learned that Abner and Coco back in the 60s were part of a commune just outside of Brindlewood Bay. And the commune had some tension with the town. And when a little boy went missing, a young Wyman Dalrymple, now the sheriff of Brindlewood County, actually led a citizens march on the commune and burned it down to the ground. Abner and Coco were already out of there by then, but that's just another sort of dark historical note about Brindlewood Bay as well. But you got a 13, which means you're entitled to another historical bit or a void clue. So we'll talk about that in addition to your regular clue. I'm curious what you're doing, LMA.
Ooh, first making sure I don't look like I'm guilty because I was, standing right near Turlington interrogating him whenever he died. I do want to know his cause of death, so pull out my little medical bag and start poking and prodding.
Yeah, I like it. I think with the medical bag, which never gets marked, I think it'll offset your conditions, so you can take the roll with reason at regular dice.
An 8.
Okay, we'll come back to that. And B, sussing out Coco is difficult because she is either a little dim or pretending to be a little dim. In the latter case, she's very good at it. And so you may need to actually interrogate her, but she's been interrogated is the thing. We have talked to her quite a bit. I think she just processes her grief differently from the rest of us, maybe. I do think she's upset just in her own way. I do think, who was in the room with her? It was Violet and LMA was in the room with Sam when Sam died, right?
Right. We were in the Tinseltown room.
I think Gordon, you'll overhear Gordon, the banker, say, she's no doubt trying to cover up the evidence of what she did.
Then B would, having sussed out that Coco is as Coco does, might turn to the former business partner and or my pseudo bartender, Marcus, and just, does she look all right to you? You've known her forever, right? Does she look like she's about to snap? I don't know what to do to help.
He says quietly, Coco's she's a little eccentric, and she's a little oblivious from time to time. This is probably pretty normal behavior from her.
And then I will just take his hand in mine and pat the top of it. How are you doing, dear?
He says, well, I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, prior to Abner's death, the person who probably most had something to gain by Sam being dead is me, because I wanted Abner to come back to Hollywood. But now that Abner's dead and Sam died after that, I think that puts me pretty well in the clear, don't you think? So I'm sad for my friend, but feeling more intrigued by all of this.
Oh, well, I knew he was your friend, and I just kind of continue to hold his hand.
He says, this is very nice, little old lady here to comfort you. They should pass you out at airports,
I charge mightily for my service, young man.
He chuckles. So Violet, you are scanning the group, trying to see what you can see. Let me take a look at the clues and see what you might discover, since you did discover something. Oh, and I also owe you a little Rockford message too, don't I?
Would I be able to hear it not being at home?
Here's what happens. Someone's cell phone rings. It's it's Marcus's. Marcus will say, "Oh, excuse me one moment, I gotta take this. It could be LA." And he answers it. He's like, "Hello? Yes, I possibly. Who is this?" Okay, one moment. Is there a, and he says, is there a Violet Hyacinth here?
And I say, present.
Oh, I got a call for you. And he hands you the cell phone.
Take it, and I try to make myself feel very important.
The voice on the other line. The voice on the other line says, "You're doing an excellent job, Violet. You're doing everything we need you to do. Take a look around at all the people that are gathered there in the Vidal home. 2 of them had a terrible argument only hours before. You can see it on their faces if you look close enough. And while you're there, be sure to stop by Coco and Abner's room. You'll find where that key goes."
I imagine I stammer a little bit before it goes dead.
Yeah, a little bit, probably. So now you're looking at the group with renewed interest. And it's not a full clue yet. I think you have to follow up on this a bit. But you will notice 2 characters. We'll say Elena and Coco. They've been very frosty to each other all night, and they are giving each other increasingly frosty looks. I owe you a void clue as well, but we'll come back to that later. LMA.
Yep.
Sam was bludgeoned to death, for sure. That much is pretty straightforward. You can see bits of glass stuck in his hair, and you can see the wound. And as you look across the room, you see what appears to be a shattered Bridie Award. The Bridie, of course, being the Film and Television Award given out from some particular academy in Great Britain. And it would seem that the shattered Bridie Award is the murder weapon. Now, maybe there's more to the fact that it was the Beridio ward that was used to kill Sam. I don't know. Maybe that's a big nothing. But in any case, it'll be up to you all to decide. That is your clue.
All righty. Is there what? Like a plastic bag or something I can pull out of a trash bin to preserve it for fingerprint detection later?
Yeah, of course, that's fine.
Wrap it up very carefully, drop it in my purse.
B, while this is all going on, you can hear someone outside the house getting quite loud, saying, "Who are you people? Who are you? Get out of here. Get away from this house. Get away from this house." What do you do, B? Others will hear it too. Like, what? What's that?
Having reluctantly dropped Marcus's hand so he could answer his cell phone, I might take the opportunity to grasp it again and say, that sounds like we should go and check on that. And then see if I can get him to accompany me outside.
He'll go with you. When you go outside, you'll see the maid, Mrs. White, standing in the front yard. The front yard is almost like a bank of fog, like this fog has settled in all over the yard. And you see these shadowy figures standing all around the house. And Mrs. White turns and her face expression is white as a sheet. And she says, "I don't know who they are. They just appeared." And she goes inside quickly. What do you do, B?
They're not making any sound. Are they moving?
They're just
Do they
standing
appear to
there.
be just standing there?
There's about half a dozen of them.
Marcus, do you know if Coco was expecting more guests? This seems very of the season. You there, don't just scare people because you feel like it, being all shadowy. Come out here at once.
I would like for you to make the night move. So if we read the night move, when you do something risky or face something you fear, which is what's happening right now, what are you afraid will happen if you lose your nerve?
I have started to notice very shadowy things in my own life, in my own home, and this is very much on theme with that. So I worry that it will intensify and that my person might become either part of this shadowy entity or worse.
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. You will lose contact with your source for the remainder of the mystery. Your source is not available to you, meaning the source for your move. The reasons we'll see if you fail, but go ahead and roll composure for now.
Can I, instead of using an item for assistance on this roll, can I use Marcus as assistance?
No.
I have a man. That's okay.
No. Especially not this game.
Fair. That's just terrible. A 5. And I have a +2 to composure.
We'll come back to it. So, Violet, what do you do once you realize that the voice on the phone, which is very, very prescient, is perhaps talking about Coco and Elena?
Actually, what I had in mind is if everybody is distracted going out to the front lawn, I might make my way to the study to use my key.
Oh, you mean to Coco and Abner's bedroom?
Or yeah, to the bedroom.
Yeah, I think you could probably go there because everybody's very distracted by dead bodies and Mrs. White screaming out in the yard. You can head up there. Let's do a paint the scene. This is for everyone, of course. Abner and Coco had a pretty interesting sex life. What evidence of this do you see casually strewn about the room?
Oh, there has to be a giant mirror above the bed.
Mirror on the ceiling. Good.
There were several awards prominently placed downstairs, but here is where all of the other ones are, just shelves and shelves of just any memorabilia. It's more than the tinsel room. It's just every single win, every single award for even the tiniest makeup artists.
A lot of the wardrobe, the costumes from their prior B movies have they're hanging up arrayed, but they've all been modified from what we saw in the movies in illicit ways, explicit ways.
I love it. That's good. So you're poking around then, I guess. What are you doing, Violet?
I'm searching for probably my initial thought is probably to like look behind artwork and stuff to find like a safe or something or some secret compartment.
Yeah. How specifically so? Like moving paintings or pushing furniture back? Like what are you doing specifically?
Yeah, I'll probably do the paintings. Well, how in shape are the couple? Is furniture moving sort of like where I would think to go with my mind? Would they be doing that? Or maybe I look for track marks.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Do the meddling move with reason. You might find a clue while you're here.
Having just rolled a 12 with these dice, I'm expecting them to betray me. And they did. 5.
The door closes quietly behind you. It locks. And the lights in the room change. They go from being regular lights to being sort of like red, like when the power goes out on a ship or something, like you have these red lights, right? And shadows of the costumes are dancing on the walls. Give me the night move, Violet. What are you afraid is happening? What are you afraid will happen if you lose your nerve right now?
I think I'm afraid that the killer has initiated some sort of like panic room situation in order to either lock me in here or like, stab me.
It's worse than that. You will in fact die. So go ahead and roll with composure again.
Okay.
And I think with the descent, I wanted at disadvantage.
Okay. In that case, I use my great American novel rolling pin. Okay. That's a 6.
This room bathed in red with shadows all around. You realize one of the shadows is getting bigger and stretching and looming over you. And you see a shadowy figure now made flesh standing in front of you. They have on their head what appears to be a crown made of willow stretching tall into the air. And they whisper very quietly, a sacrifice for the queen. And they grab you, Violet, and they tighten their hands around your neck, and you can feel your windpipe being crushed as they wring the life out of you, and your body slumps down to the ground. And the shadowy figure removes what appears to be, in the dark it's hard to say, but we would understand it to be a piece of fruit. And they slice the fruit in half, and they begin eating the seeds. Unless you want to mark crown, of course.
I believe I will. I'll do the first one.
For the crown of the queen.
Yeah, the queen one.
We'll come back to the scene in a moment. LMA, what do you do after you realize basically what happened to Sam here? That at least smashed pretty award.
Yeah. I feel like for decorum's sake, I should like drape some doily over his head or something. If there's some piece of fabric nearby. And then my thought was to honestly kind of explore the house a bit on the question of whether there's somebody else here that is not one of the guests that we've met. Seems dangerous going off on my own. Sounds like a fun thing to do.
I think that Marcus, having kind of put out in the world that maybe you're trying to cover your tracks with Sam, you have people who want to tag along with you, to keep an eye on you. And
turn it into a search. We're probably not alone in this house. Quick,
yeah.
grab a, I don't know, a club or something.
Gordon will say, where do you think you're going?
I want to make sure that this is the entirety of our party. I have a feeling there's someone else in this house.
So are you suggesting that we split up to search the house?
When you put it that way, it sounds like a terrible idea, but I think I think it'll play out great. I feel like for our safety, that or we all stay in one room and keep an eye on each other. But somebody turned out the power. Somebody murdered poor Mr. Tutterow. Was that his last name?
Turlington.
Poor Mr. Turlington. And that just seems like the work of an accomplice. Like there's
Elena says, all I know is that you women, you all seem to be guiding all of this. You seem to be in charge of everything, questioning people. And then one of the people you're questioning turns up dead, and now you want to go sneak off into the house. I don't know. It just looks suspicious. That's all I'm saying.
You see blood on any of these hands, and I hold up all 8 spider hands.
She says, ha ha. But maybe we should split up and go search the house. Maybe it's not a bad idea. Then we'll know for sure if there's anyone else here. And everyone's kind of like, well, should we? What if we split up, go by ourselves? Then we could be killed since we will be by ourselves. Well, let's go in pairs then. But if we go in pairs, what if one of us gets paired up with the killer?
Well, we should go as a group en masse then and flush out any culprits in this house, I think.
Gordon says, all right, then I'll lead the way. And so the group is now leaving. Whatever's left of the group, besides Marcus and Beatrice and Violet, are going out. So that's June, Elena, Gordon, and Coco. You're all going to go, and you, LMA, to go search the other parts of the house. We'll come back to that. B, I'm cutting you off from the Mulder move. for the remainder of the mystery. And the reason why is because one of the shadowy figures steps forward. We don't see them on camera, but it's your contact. And your contact says, with a disguised voice, "I'm very sorry, Ms. Baum, but this situation has gotten a little bit out of hand. We're going to have to recede for the moment. Good luck."
Just that. I hear the words. If Marcus asks me about it, I will not answer him either. It will just be silence. I am very frightened.
Take frightened as a condition. Marcus will say, "What's going on, Ms. Baum?"
You wouldn't understand, dear. You're from the movies.
That's good.
We should go inside. I think it is safer in there. I'm quite shaken. Would you, speaking of shaken, you, good sir, should make me a martini for my nerves.
He says, "That I can do. Let's go inside." Meanwhile, Violet, you mark the crown of the queen. So instead of being murdered by some shadowy figure wearing a willow crown, instead you manage to keep it together. You manage to keep it together, but you drop the key in the dark. Remove the key from your personal quarters or from your cozy little place.
Apparently, I never wrote it down.
Well, it is now removed. And you actually see the shadowy figure holding the key up because they've just picked it up. And then they recede into the shadow and the lights come back on in the room. What do you do?
Well, first of all, I say, "Son of a nutcracker," and then I probably start opening closets and things, looking for them, or some sort of hidden
Yeah.
compartment.
Yeah, no, that's great. You do. You open up a wardrobe and you see at the back of the wardrobe, as you toss some clothes, you see the keyhole. You don't find them, but you see the keyhole. Maybe this person slipped away into a secret passage. It's unclear, but at the back of the wardrobe, there's a keyhole. What do you do?
What do I have? Dang. If it's a cheap lock, I would take a hanger and try to pick it.
You can try to do that anyway.
I try. I'm desperate.
It's good. We'll come back to that. LMA. You've seen the Tinseltown room. You haven't gone up to the master bedroom yet. You're sort of, you've kind of definitely seen the back area. You could go to the back porch, and there's really nothing going on there as best you can tell. And of course, the front area where the party is seen. Of course, there's the shark tank. Like you're kind of getting a good glimpse of everything you've seen already. The only other places are the master bedroom and Abner's office. Where to first?
Oh, gotta check the office.
So everybody goes into the office, kind of almost like Clue style, everybody moving like as a mass into the office, right? 2 corpses, everything's fine. And you see in the office, well, let's paint the scene. Abner is very bad at business. Looking around the office, how do we know this?
Instead of filing cabinets, there seem to be lots and lots of shoeboxes with receipts and such stuffed full, lining the back wall.
And on a pile on the desk next to a very conveniently placed letter opener, a bunch of envelopes with final notice, but they're all unopened.
On the computer, there's a sticky note with the password on it.
It's good. So LMA, once you get in there, what do you do?
Well, out of character, I want clues. In character, I want to see if there's a way to determine who he's been in contact with recently, like business card by the phone, Rolodex, any kind of handwritten notes, stuff like that.
Yeah, take the meddling move with reason.
All right, reason 1. 12.
Nice work. I need to write down the last void clue as well that we got. Make a note of that real fast. It was shadowy figures in the fog. Nice. So you're looking around Abner's papers and things. I think the thing that sticks out to you the most is there's an old reel of film on the desk. Maybe nothing particularly unusual about that. But the film reel says on a little piece of tape, B-Bay 1967.
Excellent. Is that an entire clue into itself, or should I be digging deeper to see what's on the film?
That is another bracketed clue. It probably has your void clue as well. So you'll need to go watch that at some point.
Excellent.
Tinseltown Room does have a setup for watching movies. So Gordon says, well, doesn't seem to be anyone in here. Let's just go check out the bedrooms. And the group turns to go get to the bedrooms. B, you'll see the group sort of coming back out into the main hall at this point. What do you do? Marcus goes off to make you a drink.
LMA, what is this, a conga line of mystery? What is happening just now?
We are searching for accomplices because the circumstances seem like this is the work of more than one, one culprit who could turn out the lights and murder at the same time and then turn the lights back on. You know what I mean? That's not the work of one.
I did see Ms. White. She ran back in the house. Did she not come to you?
I've not seen Ms. White.
Yeah, Mrs. White is not anywhere that you can see.
What we should be looking for is the maid. And I know that that's just so typical of these situations, but I really feel like in this case specifically that it's a prudent move.
Certainly, but how else are we going to get to the bottom of this if we don't find out both the presence of other accomplices, if they are here, and a motive for murdering Abner?
Yes, of course. And then thinking to myself for a moment, It seems very strange, these comings and goings, and it makes me think that perhaps these Hollywood people might have built secret doors or passages through the main room into the rest of the house. And I would like to just investigate such things to see if I can find any,
Yeah.
want to pull candlesticks, start
Yeah.
throwing books on the floor.
Books off the shelf, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Where are you starting? Like in the front room or?
The tinsel room is where I would start.
Good. You can go ahead and take a meddling move with reason. And
Whew, that is so much better. I'm scared of those dice. A reason +1, I have a 10 total.
nice. We'll come back to that. Violet, I think I want the night move right now. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail right now at getting this unlocked quickly?
I'm afraid somebody will come in and start lobbying for me as the killer.
I think it's worse than that. You will be found holding something that also really like strongly indicates that you might be the killer just by happenstance. You'll have picked something up to make the situation very, very hard to wiggle out of.
Can I use the new move that I got, Frank Columbo?
How does that work?
It's the something about you causes the elite of society to not take you too seriously. What is it? Once per session, when you do the meddling move in a place occupied by the rich and famous, you find an additional clue, even on a miss, an additional void clue on 12+. Oh, but I'm not doing the
You're
meddling
doing that
move.
move right now.
Yeah. Okay.
With vitality, in fact. So
Okay. And is this descent still hindering me?
no, you can roll it regular.
I'm sticking with my betrayers. Oh, 9.
You manage to get it open, minus the black key. You manage to like, and the panel sort of folds forward. You have to move some clothes out of the way to get to it. And there's a little niche at the back of the wardrobe. And sitting in the niche on a little shelf is that willow crown. It's tall and willowy, and it's covered in blood and bits of protein matter. How are you feeling right now?
Both curious to see if it is human blood and disgusted.
Take disgusted as a condition. What do you do with the crown?
Maybe they have one of those small little bins that people have in their rooms, especially old people for some reason. But if it's empty, I would put the crown in that and then take the lining of the bin with me to like carry the crown in.
As you are trying to figure out what to do with this crown, you hear the group coming up the stairs. Well, we might as well start in the master bedroom. And you hear like, people walking towards the master bedroom and about to open the door. And someone's like, oh, the door is locked. Does anybody have a key? Somebody go find the maid to go get the key. And so they're outside the room and you are putting the willow crown, we'll say in like a plastic, or we'll say like in a hamper bag, or something like that, right? So you're either gonna you're stuck in the room on the inside, they're waiting on the outside. What are you doing? What are you gonna do right now?
I'm going to pretend that the door was unlocked and I rush to the ensuite bathroom and I am going to pretend like I was going to the washroom to embarrass people if they come in and say occupied.
While that's happening, B, you were poking around the Tinseltown room, correct? Looking for secret passages. I like it. Take the meddling move with reason.
Did I just take a meddling move for reason and got a 10?
Oh, maybe you did.
I don't think I because I was very excited that these dice did not betray me so terribly the second time around.
Okay, I just need to follow up, basically. Yeah. Okay. So there's a statue in the room of what appears to be it's like an Academy Award, it's an Oscar, right? It's really big. But it's just like a lightweight kind of like fiberglass thing, right? And it can be slid out of the way for sure. And there's a passage going up, spiraling upstairs. What do you do?
Wait for Marcus to bring me my drink. No, I do wait for Marcus to return back to the Tinseltown room before any further investigation.
He comes in, he's like, whoa, what's that?
I don't know. You've never been up there before?
No, I didn't know about this at all, as he's looking upstairs.
Well, I mean, shall we?
He says, yeah, I think we should.
I'll
And
follow you.
he says, okay. And he is keeping an eye on you as this is going up, right?
And I'm watching his butt as he goes up the stairs.
You get to the top and you push on the wall. And he's like, oh, it looks like something slides back. And he says, oh, it looks like we're in the, hold on one second. Sarah, I'm getting just like a little bit of feedback on your audio because you're not wearing headphones. So, I can just hear myself whenever I talk. He says, it looks like this goes into the master bedroom. Yeah, this is their room. Violet, you can hear people coming into the room from somewhere else. But this is the clue. A secret tunnel from the Tinseltown room to the master bedroom.
This is the part where LMA pops out of the bathroom cabinet. Like, there's another.
Well, LMA, where are you at right now?
My thought was to lead the group back down to the Tinseltown room and watch this film, although I'd kind of prefer to watch it without everybody around.
Well, they're all waiting. Someone's trying to find Mrs. White because they think that Mrs. White has the key into the master bedroom, right? I think so Coco has gone downstairs to find Mrs. White, the maid.
Okay, so we're split up a little bit. Yeah, if I can slip away, I'll slip away and go back to Tinseltown room and try and cue up this little film reel.
B, did you pull the Oscar statue back over the... No. Okay, so you'll go downstairs all the way and you'll see the stairway going up in the secret stairway.
Everybody's long gone, I take it.
Yeah, there's nobody in the Tinseltown room currently. Yeah,
I'm not hearing footsteps going up the thing yet.
No, you've just missed them.
I think I'll. It was opened by a statue, right? Or like kind of like behind a statue.
Yeah, like a big like fiberglass statue of an Oscar.
Yeah, I feel like I'll, for the moment, push that shut and kind of see if there's a way to like prop a chair in front of it or something so that nobody can come out at me, and then cue up this film projector real quickly.
Yeah, there's a film projector and there's a screen in the Tinseltown room, and you can kind of get the film on there, and we hear the, you know, and you can turn the lights out and everything. And from the hall outside, you hear Coco saying, "Well, we can't get into the room. Someone locked the room. Do you have a key?" And you can hear like jingling of keys as they pass by. Violet, what are you doing right now? You hear two people, you probably recognize B and then one of the other guests coming into the room from somewhere, and you're in the bathroom. What do you do?
Yeah, I flushed the toilet as if I'm just done. Start washing my hands, because then they're like, well, if they ask me why didn't you open the door, I'll be like, hello.
Do you have the crown and the plastic sack with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's just have that scene.
Oh, Violet. Is everybody outside? What?
Why? They're
What's
trying.
that?
They're trying to get in, but I was, it takes a while when you're in the washroom.
Yes, but I don't tend to bring it with me when I'm done.
Does any of us have big purses?
Darling, I don't know what you did in there, but I don't want to put it in my handbag. And actually, I'm still dressed like Elizabeth I. So if this is a matter of hiding it under my skirts, I'm out of character here for it. But I think I need to know what's in the bag.
Well, I imagine it would be hard to whisper it to you with another person there, but I don't know. Like, I give you eyes, like pick up what I'm dropping down.
Marcus, why don't you go open the door? I think Violet here needs a little assistance. You know, when you get to be, just go open the door, dear. We're gonna handle a thing.
He's very confused. He says, "Okay." He's like, "Gosh, this is almost like one of Abner's movies. What was the name of it? The Curious Case of the I can't remember. But gosh, what a anyway." And he goes to open the door.
And Violet, you have 3 seconds to figure out how to stash that thing if that's what's happening.
I do like the idea of you just like hiding it under the big gown, the big like Elizabeth I gown. I think that's great.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'm sure I'm not carrying anything, like, and I'm a straw man. I can't put it nowhere. So I'm just like, hide it. I'll explain later. It's a clue, clue.
Yes. Oh, fine. Oh, there we are. There we are.
I think you still don't know what it is, B, because it's in a bag. But yeah, very interesting. Okay, good. Now, LMA, back to the film. There's no audio. It's just visual. And I owe you both a clue and a void clue, right?
The 12, yeah.
So the film appears to be from the commune. Someone made it, probably Abner. And you see like, there's a farm. You see like a farmhouse and a barn. And you see a bunch of people who are kind of, like clearly kind of like hippie-ish, types, very like floppy hats and long hair and smoking weed and like other things like that, playing guitars, it's kind of like that kind of thing going on. And you're watching it for a bit. Let me take a look at my clues. Let's see how I want to present this. Hold on. Oh, good. Yeah. So you're watching the film, and the film is just sort of, it's like this farm scene. You got these hippies at the commune. That's all kind of going on. At a certain point, you see what appears to be like a group of locals who are kind of like there giving the commune a hard time. You can't quite tell what they're saying, but there's like an argument breaking out. You can see people like arguing back and forth, and they kind of come to blows a little bit, and somebody splits them up. You definitely recognize a young Wyman Dalrymple, but you also recognize a young Gordon Thune as well. And this is your clue. Gordon Thune knew the Vidals from their time at the commune. The movie goes on for a bit. And then it cuts for a little bit. And then it picks back up. And we see the people from the commune walking away from the barn, walking across the field to what appears to be a large hillock on one side of the property. And there's the mouth of a cave on the side of the hillock. And they're all kind of walking towards the cave entrance. This is being filmed. And everyone goes inside the cave. And the light's very bad at this point. You just see a couple of flashlights bouncing around in the film. But eventually, the lights settle on one wall, which has been painted with a sort of helter-skelter type message on it that says, "The child will rise." And then the film cuts.
Nice. And that's the void clue, yes.
That's the void clue. Yeah.
Right, plug it in.
Let's take a 5-minute break. LMA, just after you see this very interesting film footage, at the precise moment, in fact, that you see "The Child Will Rise" on the film, you get a text message. It's from Etienne Beauregard, the fishmonger. He says, "How's the catch of the day?"
Nice. Reply back using two phones to text. Neck deep in a mystery again, as usual.
There's a little, ... as he replies back. He says, "Well, I was just thinking about you. Do you want to get coffee later tonight?"
I actually don't have a sense of what time it is in the evening, given our
Like
party activities here.
7 o'clock, 8 o'clock,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah. Well after sundown.
Got it. Yeah. ... I'll text back. That would be delightful, but I don't know that I'm going to be available tonight. There's a situation. And then I'll hit send.
He texts back, "That sounds ominous. Do you need help or anything?"
Well, the sheriff's on his way. I think it'll probably sort itself out. But if you want to be a big, strong, burly fellow and be around as backup, right now we're kind of locked in at the Vidal's mansion for a Halloween party. You'll know it when you see the festive blood coffin fountains outside.
He says, "Oh yeah, I know the place. I'll swing by."
I'm gonna get murdered, aren't I?
So, Violet and B, you managed to get the crown hidden, and Marcus is going for the door to let the people on the outside in when he gets another doodle-doo, 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 doodle-doo. He answers it. He says, "Oh, yeah, hold on. Violet, this is for you again."
Oh, excellent. I'll take it.
The voice on the other line, on the end of the line says, "You're doing excellent work, Miss Hyacinth. Keep it up. It's very, very important that no one else lay eyes on what you've just gotten your hands on. It's very, very important you keep it hidden from others. Do you understand?" Before you can respond, they hang up.
I was gonna push a number key.
Marcus opens the door, and everyone comes in. They're all like, "Whoa! Like there was somebody in here already? But whoa! What's going on?"
We just discovered this, and I do like tiny circle steps to gesture at the secret passage, implying that Violet was with us, but not necessarily explicitly saying otherwise.
Yeah, we didn't note it before, but the secret passage is behind a tall floor mirror, like that you might dress in front of. So just FYI out there. And everyone's just like, well, likely story.
How many of them are there that came in?
So it's everyone except for LMA at this point.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, well, 3 against 2 or whatever, but
Well, it doesn't seem
that's
like there's
the
anyone
case,
else
then-
in the house, says Gordon. I think we've pretty well clarified that. So one of you must have done it to everybody in the room.
that's very helpful.
I guess then if Coco and the maid are back up with keys, even though they didn't need to open the door, I have a few very pointed questions on what she saw on the lawn and where she has been all evening. So I think maybe a meddlesome move in that direction, kind of.
Yeah, I think at this point
Again,
the group will probably break up.
Tiny,
right?
dainty, queen-esque steps that also are physically necessary.
Yeah, I think at this point the group will break up and everybody will kind of go off, back to getting a drink or figuring out what to do, waiting for the cops, who are taking their time. And yeah, we'll come back to that. So, LMA, what do you do once you're done with the film?
I feel like I want to go warm myself by a fireplace or something. I'm kind of still doing the chilled to the bone and shaken. A little bit of port, perhaps, and stand by the fireplace and kind of mull over what we know already.
Yeah, it's good. You can
Just that
clear
much,
one of those
but-
if you want. You can clear chilled to the bone.
Oh, right.
So you're kind of going over, you're doing that. People are kind of starting to come back downstairs at this point. Violet, what do you do as the group is breaking up?
If everybody else leaves, then I would pursue B to a place where we could be separate from everybody and inspect what it is that I found.
And it seems that Mrs. White is with B right now, because B is kind of going Mrs. White. Mrs. White, what do you say to Mrs. White, B?
I saw you on the lawn. That was very, very frightening. Do you know what that was all about? This evening has just been horrible.
She says, well, I was out there turning off the blood fountains. We were getting some complaints.
Understandably, yes, of course. But where were you previously? I haven't seen you but once this evening, and with all of the shouting and truly blood fountains.
What are you trying to suggest? She says.
That you are one of the few people in this house that have been unaccounted for. And I would like to account for you. Perhaps you should account for yourself.
Take meddling move with presence.
8 plus. Didn't have
Roll third die for disadvantage, because I think frightened and shaken would make you less intimidating.
Oh, well, 7 plus. Reason you said? 8.
Presence.
Oh, then 7.
7. She says, well, someone has to keep things up here, right? Someone has to manage the household. Goodness knows Abner and Coco don't have it in them. Or I should say, Mr. and Mrs. Vidal.
Well, yes, perhaps you were attending to the Shark Tank and noted last time you saw it empty.
She says, I didn't have anything to do with Mr. Vidal's death, nor the death of his business partner. I just look after things. But if I'm being perfectly honest, Mr. Vidal was bound to go and get himself killed at some point. In fact, I'm surprised it took this long. The person I'm most worried about is poor Mrs. Vidal. Someone needs to make sure she's looked after. I'll make sure she's looked after. But if you want to know the truth, someone made an attempt on Mr. Vidal's life already. No surprise.
No.
Well, not 2 days ago, Mr. Vidal's car was found with the brake lines cut. But you didn't hear that from me.
Well, I still would like to know when that Shark Tank was last just shark. But I'm why don't you go take care of Coco? She is having a terrible evening. I'll just let her off.
She says, thank you very much. And she leaves. I owe you a complication, though, on that, which is I'm going to give you a condition, because as she walks away, she's giving you the side eye. And I'm going to give you the condition being watched.
How convenient. Yes, thank you.
LMA, after you're done warming yourself by the fire, then what?
I'm gonna go track down Gordon Thune here and ask a question. I'm not against other people overhearing the question necessarily. I think that might be better in a way.
Okay, go for it.
I'm still holding my little glass of port, and gonna say, Gordon, you're a banker. You're probably involved with loans for real estate purchases. You remember that commune? Whoever owned that land?
Good. Take the meddling move with presence. You're definitely trying to rattle him, I think. Let me take a look at your... Take it at disadvantage, though. I don't think you're as... Because of shaken, I don't think you're as intimidating as you think you might be.
See, all right. Is there a chance that my collection of Pride memorabilia might come in useful? Is it?
I don't know. If you can work it in there, by all means, go for it.
It was a gay commune, clearly.
Do you have a
no.
problem with gay people, Gordon? He probably does.
Here we go. What have we got? It's an 8, even at disadvantage. Oh wait, no, sorry, I lied. It's a 4. Other way. It's a 4 is what it is. From disadvantage, taking away that 5.
Indeed. He says, what are you getting at, Miss Washington?
Oh, I just, Brindlewood Bay's got such a fascinating history. And I was thinking about that commune, and, everybody comes together, free love and sort of a shared everything. And yet somebody's got to own the land.
Are you suggesting that whatever happened back in those days has some kind of connection to what's happened here tonight?
Well, it got me to thinking that, what's his face? Sam Turlington is deceased and Abner's deceased, and they were, making some real estate plans in town, and they're both dead. Seems like our suspect is probably somebody who would have a vested interest in the fate of some real estate. And I just started thinking back on the town. And
he says, it's funny you should bring up real estate and the town, Ms. Washington, because I happen to know for a fact that you have not been making your property tax payments on your pottery shop. This was brought to my attention because there's a very strong chance that, unfortunately, the bank might have to take control over the title to your little shop. And I bet you there are plenty of people who would want to get their hands on that prime piece of real estate. Mr. Turlington would have, certainly, before he died. But there are others. That's your fail condition. He's threatening your business.
It's a pretty big condition.
Unless you want to mark the crown, of course.
That could be intriguing. Yeah, let's mark a crown.
Choose queen or void, and we'll change the scene appropriately.
Oh, given the movie I just watched, we're doing the chariot.
Oh, interesting. What's that one do?
My reason modifier is reduced by 1. My sensitivity modifier is increased by 1.
Probably unlocked by that film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Go ahead and change those. He says, you certainly know how to cut to the heart of things, don't you, Ms. Washington?
Well, there's only so many hours in a night, and I'm sure people have places to be that don't involve hanging out in a house with 2 corpses.
He says, well, let me tell you this. Whatever happened here tonight has no connection whatsoever to what happened in 1967. Those days are long past us. Long, long past us. He says it loud enough for others in the room to hear. Things were different back then. People had different ideas. We weren't as progressive back then as we are nowadays. And yes, I knew the Vidals, like so many other people here did during those days. But I'm pretty sure that whatever happened to Abner and to Mr. Turlington is probably more likely related to this. And he pulls out of his coat what does he pull out? We'll see in a minute. Violet, what are you up to right now?
I would try to hustle be into like a boathouse or a shed or someplace secluded where I would think that the person who keeps calling me can't see me so we can investigate the crown.
So you're going outside?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going, B?
Absolutely not. I absolutely will not go outside. It is terrible out there. Why? Everyone left. There's no one here, still standing in the master bedroom. I don't know why you want to go somewhere else.
Because there's a clue between your legs, B.
Yes, but everyone is watching.
That's why we need to go. Just find a pretense, turn off the fountains, or do a perimeter sweep or something.
Perimeter sweep. I do like angry, huffy walk to demonstrate how inefficient that would be.
Well, what do you suggest? We need to look at it somehow.
The bathroom. Just go back into the bathroom where apparently you started all of this.
Well, maybe a different one. I'd like to see the decor in this one.
Violet. And I hustle her into the same bathroom because I cannot effectively walk with this thing between my knees because I am not a young woman anymore.
So have you
You
gone
might
back
like
upstairs, or is this like a downstairs bathroom?
Well, I was kind of talking to the
Like a
maid
vanity?
upstairs
Yeah.
in the master bedroom, and then
Oh, got
everybody
it.
kind of
Okay,
broke
got
off.
it.
I don't
Okay,
feel
so
like I
that's where
ever
we're at.
left that
Okay,
room.
got it. Okay.
And so, especially because I can't feasibly do stairs at the moment.
That's
So
fair. Yeah, totally fair. Good. So, okay, let's have that scene then. So are you going into the bathroom then?
Yeah. I'd say that they probably do have an elevator, but I suppose we could just use this.
what on earth were you taking out of the bathroom in the first place? As I'm like pulling up all of the skirts.
Well, first of all, I like go shh, and then I like turn on the shower, flush the toilet, turn on the taps. I said somebody has been alluding to the fact that they can see us in this house. And so I don't know, maybe these creepy people have cameras everywhere, and there's like some man in the basement with like all those monitors, like in that book that we read that one time. And anyway, I think we've, issued them enough. Let's take a look at this clue.
I've just hiked up my skirts and there's a plastic bag.
You open the plastic bag and you see the crown glistening red with fresh blood still and bits of meat hanging off of it, this strange willow crown. And I want you both to take the condition, the blood red crown. If you don't have space for it, you have to replace something else and mark your crown.
I open a bag and see this. It's dead Christ on a cracker. What is, why do you have, why, dear, do you have a bloody potential murder weapon in a bag between my legs?
Oh, please, who murders somebody with a bloody crown?
Someone, obviously.
Well, I found it, of course, when I was snooping about. People were trying to get into this room, and meanwhile, I, quite rightly pretended that I had not found it because it looks quite bad, doesn't it?
Yes, yes, it does look quite terrible. Like you have been murdering all of the guests at the party we were invited to. Why?
I doubt this crown would fit me.
Oh, I see. Yes, because it's the wrong size. It doesn't fit, so you can't be the murderer. They tried that already.
If the shoe fits.
Yes, well, I think that we need to figure out who is killing people and prove at the very least your innocence in all of this. What do you suppose you do with it now that you have it? You carrying around a bag of trash the entire party?
I think that we should, we could rendezvous with LMA and maybe she could tell if it's human blood or not. Maybe she has some way of discerning that. And then for the rest of the evening, maybe we put it under the sink.
Why don't we put it under the sink now?
Well, I'd really like to know if it's human blood. I mean, if it's just some sort of weird sex pagan ritual type thing that they're doing, then we really don't need it.
I think it's safe to say that it's bad that it's blood. It doesn't necessarily matter. Then we're not going to figure out if it's Abner's blood. This is too much. And then I storm off, having nothing else to do with it.
I said, or I don't have a thing. I shout at you and I say, bring LMA back here.
Violet, you can put the bloody willow crown in your cozy little place.
Oh, what do I name it?
The bloody willow crown. Gordon Thune pulls out a document. I have a feeling this is the key to what happened tonight, he says to the assembled people. A building permit recently approved for a major portion of the boardwalk. Sam and Abner were going to tear down some historical buildings in order to build mixed-use housing developments along the waterfront. And there's only one person here in this room who advocated so strongly with the town council against this and who was defeated at town council, and that is June Willoughby. And June says, oh, she gives a scandalized sigh, and yeah, so there's like a little chatter. Oh, hubbub, hubbub, hubbub. If Abner and Sam are dead, well, that would slow down the project, wouldn't it? That's your clue, though.
All righty.
Recently approved building permit. June storms out angrily. Then what, Elmay?
I thought for a moment I was going to pull out my key to Brindlewood Bay to counteract his documentation. I mean, we've got 7 clues at this point. We're getting to a point we could start theorizing.
Yeah, one of them just needs to be kind of confirmed that there was an argument between Coco and Elena.
I wanted to ask about that. What was the brackets for? It's that we haven't confirmed it.
Yeah. The voice just said like maybe look into that. That's all. Yeah.
Okay, but I don't know about the voice saying that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Violet sort of like has a suspicion, but it's not really like confirmed that they had an argument yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. I'll follow June. Willoughby.
I'll help you out. There's a doorbell ring. Ding dong, ding dong.
Front door, I assume.
Front door, yeah.
probably it's Etienne.
Mrs. White goes, and she answers it, and it is Etienne. He says, "Oh, I'm here to see Elena Washington. Is she here?" And Mrs. White lets him in. He must have just got off his shift because he's still wearing his little red beanie cap and dungarees.
Dressed as a fisherman, just
Yes.
perfect Halloween costume.
He comes in and says, "Oh, LMA, what's going on here? Everybody seems so everyone seems a little on edge about something."
Well, you know a thing or two about fish, and I'll point to the shark tank and say, take a look at that. You see the little strips of cloth stuck on its teeth.
Oh, you take him down to the shark room.
It seemed like a good dramatic moment with his Fisher Percy.
Yeah, he'll go down there and he'll say, "So what happened?"
Well, Mr. Vidal's body turned up in there, and the shark had a little snack attack. Took a chunk out of him, but it looked like he was already dead and before the shark got him. Whether drowned or murdered, I guess we don't still know. But we've got that body, and then look over here and open the door to Tinseltown. We got another body in here. The killer's likely among us.
Oh, where's the sheriff?
That is a great question. We contacted him some time ago, and you know how Dalrymple is. He takes his time. He might have stopped for some coffee and donuts for all I know.
Well, this is all a lot to take in, but I guess it's kind of exciting. I mean, it's great to show up to a real life murder mystery party where you're definitely not the murderer.
True, it does seem that your absence is going to leave you off the suspect list, but watch your back. There's trouble anywhere here.
He'll go back upstairs and says, "Well, I guess I'll pour myself a drink." And he knows a few people there, right? So he's kind of saying hello, so forth. Violet and B, what do you do? You hide the crown again, or what do we do with the crown at this point?
I mean, at this point, Beatrice could have stormed off, gone downstairs looking for Ella, and found the situation as it is, and kind of whisper in her ear, "I'm sorry, my dear. Did you invite a +1 to the murder investigation? Did you?"
We're not like that. No.
Etienne says, "That's a really great Mary Queen of Scots costume."
"Oh, you're just too much. Thank you. I need to borrow her for just a moment. Did you entertain yourself? Just girl things. We'll be right back." And I'm just kind of tugging Ella May's arm. And I think at this point, the Mavens, I will expeditiously retreat back upstairs. And maybe we can do a little theorizing in addition.
So you're all going to go theorize in the bedroom, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And there's steam coming out of the room now.
The shower running, yes.
Very good, very good. Well, you have 7 clues. Well, one of them is not confirmed yet. You have 6 clues minus that one. Old photos of good times in Hollywood thrown in the trash, a shattered Briddy Award, which was used to bludgeon Sam to death, a secret passage from the Tinseltown room to the master bedroom. Gordon Thune knew the Vidals from their time at the commune. He was a local who disapproved of the commune. This was seen on the film reel. 2 days ago, Mr. Vidal's brake lines were cut, and the recently approved building permit. Of course, all the extra context in the mystery is also important for the theorize. But those are the clues that you have to work in or explain away in order to get credit for them on the die roll. So, who has a theory? If somebody wants to add out of character context for the bracketed clue to say that, "Oh, I heard Elena and Coco having a fight or an argument or something," or you can kind of like fill that detail in to get credit for that one. But otherwise, yeah, what do we think? Any theories?
I'd like it if in her younger days June was also an actress or something, but was tossed aside. It seems like that would kind of like fit.
That's
Wasn't
not-
there a moment when they were when June was talking to a Visage and they were a little catty too?
They were, yeah.
So maybe
Well,
there's
and
some
and Coco was an actress as well, right? So maybe June
Yeah.
just has this jealousy, right?
exactly, yeah. There's some past tension released with a little murderizing.
Okay, so I think you've got, if we go with the June theory, you've got the argument between Coco and Elena, I guess would, or no, that was Elena and Coco who were arguing, not June.
Right, but they could easily be arguing over like June's true value or whatever. Like when she was pushed out, she deserved it, or no,
Oh,
she
I
didn't.
like that. That's good. Oh, like maybe you pick up this extra context that like they were arguing about whether June was a good actress or not, or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm into that. The Britty Award. I was so okay. Well, let's just keep going through it.
With the Brindlewood Award, by the way, I don't remember, was anybody established as being English, or was their
No,
programming?
but it was Abner's Britty Award. No, we'll say it was Coco's Britty Award for like an acting award. But she did like some serious piece at one point in her career and got
Ooh.
recognized for it.
Could it be that's the movie that June was in as well, and she should have gotten the award?
Oh, that's pretty good. So June was like in that movie. Okay, good.
That's
I
really
like
good.
that. That's
If
really
we're
good.
just going with the jealous June, in addition to being jealous as an actress, it would be like, it's quite possible that given what we know of her affair with our last victim, that she in that time of Tinseltown also was having an affair with Abner, might have been able to then, like, if she's throwing out old Hollywood photos and things like that, either covering evidence of that affair or
Mm.
still heartbroken over the quote unquote good times.
Yeah, I think the good times, the photos being thrown out, that matches like, oh, there were good times that that I want to not remember.
On the back of those photos, maybe it's like Juniper, like her stage name, and then she moved here and changed her name to June or something.
That's good. So I
But
guess
how
then,
would she have any realization? Like, she was the one that knew that this building was happening. She was still jealous of all of the old Hollywood times and decides that this is how she is going to seek revenge, is by blowing up his new business plans.
What if Gordon is the one who actually committed the murder to gain June's approval? Like he's trying to kind of restore her good name, her fame rather.
well, we do know that June is a local snob, right? And she's very like old Brindlewood Bay, right? Or at least she claims to be. So that kind of would like, I think that's what Gordon's point was in calling her out on the thing. But also because he did that, he probably wouldn't be, I don't know if he would have any motive here, right? So
Well, I was thinking that she would be like old Brindlewood Bay and is sort of keeping the town pure, and then the jealousy is just like the straw that broke the camel's back type deal.
yeah, the caused her to go overboard. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable to me. So are we saying that she, like, that would explain, like, so the brake lines were cut like 2 days before the party. So presumably it has to be somebody who was in town, which helps limit the suspect list a little bit because Marcus wasn't in town, right? Elena wasn't in town. And so that could just maybe be that, I don't know, just as an indication that it's somebody in town who did it, right?
Yeah, and
2
I
days ago was when they met, and she had that fiery blow up with the city council saying this cannot happen,
Right,
this cannot happen in my town.
Yeah.
And then heated cuts the brakes, right? But it
Mhm.
doesn't work. And he's
Yeah.
not dead. And then so now she starts to dwell on all the old times, and then the rage kind of, and hence the dramatic shark death, I guess.
Yeah. And I also like it at a meta level because from what we know about old Brindlewood Bay, it's turning into sort of like a, like a lot of conspiracy with the townsfolk and stuff. So at a later point, there could be more light shed onto June, for like giving additional context to June later, which would be very fun and satisfying.
So do we have any reason to think that June would know about the secret passage from the Tinseltown room to the master bedroom?
Yeah, and that would give her a way to kill the power clock Turlington and then disappear, coming out like back
Yeah.
at the party.
So how might she have known about it though, I guess? Like, is
If-
because she was
entirely
having an
out of-
affair, or
It's not entirely out of context if they did know each other from old Hollywood times, that she would occasionally go over
right, exactly. She'd
one
know
of
the
many
house.
dinner
Yeah.
invitations she
Mhm.
rejected, but
Yeah.
But
in showing off the room.
it
And
could
that-
also tie into the fact that they were arguing about the building stuff, and maybe she got the building plans from the library, and so she knows the actual layout of the house from that.
Oh, that's
'Cause
pretty
she's-
good, because she does
she
know
like
about
works
stuff like
there.
that.
I like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna also add that that statue was concealed a secret door in one of his movies, and that's why she knew to look there. Essentially.
That's good. Yeah, yeah. I love it. So plenty of justification for that one then. I guess that just the only clue that leaves is Gordon Thune knowing them. Is that just a red herring, or?
I think especially because that film was really more about the Brindlewood Bay larger conspiracy, and it
the
wasn't
old
necessarily
days,
a direct
yeah.
cool. We know they knew each other. That's cool. That
Yeah.
might be context for another mystery, but I don't think it has any bearing here.
yeah. Maybe one of the people on the film is like June's mother or something, but we don't know that yet.
So we can explain it away by just saying that, like, I mean, clearly June's anger comes from a later time, basically, right? That this is just a happenstance, I guess. Interesting. Okay, so let's run right through it. So essentially what your theory boils down to is that June Willoughby has a bit of a bone to pick with Abner and Coco and Elena to some degree, because she was essentially, her career never went anywhere, her acting career. And so she just sort of becomes a sort of local socialite in Brindlewood Bay. And years later, when the Vidals return to Brindlewood Bay, after having been here in the 60s, they sort of strike up their old friendship from those days, right? Then that goes a little sour when she realizes that Abner is actually trying to buy up historic places in town and tear them down. And so we just have all this like simmering tension, informed by their past history and June sort of her perceived role in the community and how she perceived herself. So that the old photos of good times in Hollywood are her just saying like, ugh, I, like a pox on these times, right? The Shattered Bridge Award, I like the idea of that being chosen specifically to murder Sam with, because it was Coco's Bridge Award. The argument between Coco and Elena, we've added some context to say that in fact what they were arguing about earlier was just like sort of like what went down with June back in those days, right? June would know about the Tinseltown room to the master bedroom because she is friends with the Vidals. And also I like the idea of one of the movies has a secret passage like that with a similar statue. The film reel stuff is interesting and says a lot about the history, but it doesn't really have a connection to the events of tonight. Mr. Vidal's brake lines were cut on the day that the building permit was approved. And of course, the building permit being the thing that sort of set June on this path, right? Because she fought it and lost. You have a +1 on the roll. If everyone's happy with this, whoever wants to roll it, take it away.
Brian hasn't rolled very much.
We'll try. We'll see what we get here. You didn't want me to roll. That was a 4.
4.
We're wrong.
You are wrong. Let's go to the move itself so you know exactly how this goes. All right. Oh, there's no definition for the miss. When you search for a clue, yeah. So on a miss, you're wrong. Oh no, that's not theorized. There is a miss. On a 6-, the solution is incorrect and I react. Very good. So
June's gonna be angry.
what is the you're all going to get everybody together and you're going to do this solution. I will tell you that I have added one thing to the rules that is not in the current rule set that's being added to the final rule set. I'm basically lifting it from the between, which is if everyone marks a crown, you can bump up the result on Theorize, but everybody has to mark it. Otherwise, the roll stands.
What does everyone think? I would be down for either, because it would also be like a fun twist if it was like somebody in love with June or something, you know, like we think it's June as a red herring and then it's like somebody in love with her that she's eschewed for like whatever reasons.
It's actually Gordon. Wait, we can't keep theorizing. We have to decide if we're going to do crowns. I like the red herring personally. I like that June is just casually a red herring in most of our mysteries going forward. Like I want to keep this going. So I don't want to mark a crown. And I'm sorry if that messes it up for everybody else.
That's fun too for me.
Picturing like the whole time we're having this accusation that there's a movie poster on the wall for one of Vidal's movies, given that June is dressed as a 1950s sock hop, and the movie is something called Bloodstains on My Poodle Skirt.
I love it. So you gather everyone. And everyone's gathered. Etienne is there as well. And you're laying out your case as you've done here with me today. You're saying and such, and we overheard this person saying that, and this and that, and blah, 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 and all that leads to June Willoughby. You did this, right? And in the background, the music that's playing as this is going is, I think it's, we'll just keep the clue theme. It's like shake, oh no, we did shake, rattle, and roll last time, didn't we? This one will be
Horrible Beach Boys.
Life would be a dream. Right? That music is playing. And you make the accusation, and then life would be a dream. The lights all go out. Everyone's like, what? You know. And then, my whole life loving you. Life would be a dream, sweetheart. Da, 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 da. And the lights come back on. Ba-da, ba-da. And June is dead, laying on the carpet. Ba-da, ba-da.
Way to prove your innocence.
Yeah. Etienne says, oh boy, there goes that plot armor. And everyone's just like in shock. And at this point, we hear ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Come on, let me in. This is the sheriff.
His timing is impeccable. I'm gonna take a peek at this new corpse and try and determine her cause of death.
The sheriff comes in. He says, what's going on here? Where's the body? Where's what? And he sees you and June. He's like, is that June Willoughby?
Unfortunately, it's been murders now. But no one has left. No one has left the house at all, except me and the maid and I. Well, it's not gone very well, Sheriff.
And here, we shall take a 5-minute break. Sheriff Dalrymple looks over to you, Ella May, and he says, he's like, Ella May, take a look at the body, see if you can figure out what happened there. Everyone else, let's give LMA some room here. Come, everybody, come on out here. Come on out here. He's getting everybody out of the room and leaving LMA with June's body. And once you're alone, LMA, June opens her eyes. She says, listen to me very closely, LMA. There's a group in town. They call themselves the Midwives of the Fragrant Void. I can't tell you much more about them now. There's too much to say. But it's very important that they think I'm dead. She goes into her purse and she pops open a pill bottle, like some Vicodin, something really strong. And she takes the pills and she just dumps them somewhere. She dumps them in like a potted plant or something really quickly. And she says, you found this in my hand. I couldn't take it because of everything I did. The guilt overtook me. And so I killed myself. The power, you can explain that however you want. This neighborhood has a bit of a problem on the grid. Just say it was an accident, that the power kept going out. A coincidence. I did the murders. I killed myself because I couldn't take it. Do you hear me?
I do, but I'm gonna have to get your body out of here somehow.
Don't worry about that. That's all being taken care of.
I could call in a favor from Etienne, the fishmonger.
Like I said, don't worry about that. That's all being taken care of. And then she goes back. So everyone comes back in, So what'd you discover, LMA? What's going on? Pub. And there's some arguments breaking out, like, I didn't do it. You were near her. You were next to her, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. What do you say?
Well, this jar of pills was in her hand, and it seems that she may have deliberately overdosed. Almost an admission of guilt.
But then Marcus will say, but what about the lights and the power going out?
Well, it's not the first time that's happened tonight. Maybe there's a short that runs through the fish tank and like water is dripping out of the shark tank, interfering with our electrical system. I don't know. This old house is like this.
Dalrymple will say, this neighborhood does occasionally have problems with power. So we think June did it then, huh? And then she killed herself?
Seems to be the case. And I kind of look at both Violet and Bee and say, almost like that time when Amanda Delacourt had that case on her hands, and I'll cite one of the books where it was a complete ruse, like the killer was still in the room, so that they'll know things are not truly as they seem. What's
Etienne
Okay.
says, Sheriff, I guess it's a good thing I'm here. I can take all the bodies and keep them cold until we can figure out what to do with them, contact the families and whatnot. And
That'd be perfect, Etienne.
the sheriff says, yes, it was a good thing you were here, Etienne. Did you bring your truck? He says, yes, I did. And Sheriff Dalrymple says, well, once again, congratulations, murder mavens. You caught your culprit. It's really sad that she denied her victims justice by taking her own life, but it is what it is.
Can I look around and see if anyone's looking particularly relieved?
Maybe, probably, but just maybe relieved because they're not on the hook for anyone.
Well, because they're the killer.
I don't know about that. But the party is over. And as long as LMA keeps this up, the mystery is done. Ba-da, ba-da, ba, ba-da, 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 ba-do, ba-ba.
Well, it seems like I'll try and help Etienne or go with him as we're taking these bodies to his truck and try and maybe slip my car keys into June Willoughby's hands or into her pocket at some point. And then after she's loaded in, cause a distraction to get Etienne's attention, like hold his hand and say, "Oh, I'm so glad that you came here and you helped us out," and give him a great big hug and kind of be like, "Go, June, go."
As everyone's sort of gathered on the yard and the bodies are being loaded into Etienne's truck to be taken to the fish market to be kept cold until at least the next morning. Beatrice, you see a little old lady approaching from the street, much older even than the three of you. You know her. Her name is Mrs. Carfax. She lives in a bed and breakfast that used to be a farm called Stockton Farms, but is now called Snowdrop House. That's for another day. But Mrs. Carfax approaches you and she says, "Dear, what happened here?"
Well, it would be very difficult for me to say precisely what happened. But unfortunately, it was rather gruesome.
Oh my, how terrible.
The sheriff is taking care of it, as he can do his job occasionally with some merit. But you shouldn't worry yourself. It seems like this has been resolved for the most part. Did you hear something?
No, I was just taking a late night stroll, looking at the children in their costumes, Is that June Willoughby? As June's being brought out to the truck.
She was at the party, yes. Unfortunately, it does seem like she is deceased.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have some friends in town who'll be very interested to hear that.
Oh, yes. Well, she was beloved by all of the librarians in the Eastern Seaboard, as far as I could tell. Everybody knew and loved June, didn't they?
Yes, you could say that. Well, what a dreadful night. I better get back. It was nice to see you, dear.
Yes, well, under better circumstances, I'm sure we'll see each other again soon.
She gives you a warm smile, and as she turns away, you will notice that she's wearing what appears to be a ring. The ring looks like that crown, the Willoughby crown. It like kind of wraps around her finger. It's a strange piece of jewelry. And she walks off.
Beatrice will make a note of that, but as I turn back to the, I guess, bodies being loaded into the back of the fishmonger's truck, do I happen to notice, out of curiosity, if the blood fountain is still on?
No, it actually is off. I think Mrs. White did
Fair
turn it off.
Just needed to satiate my own curiosity there.
I'm now
Indeed.
picturing the blood fountain whenever the power went out was like, and then like back.
Very good, very good. Let's go to the end of session. Did the murder maven solve a mystery? In a sort of way, yes. You can all get credit for it. She might have done it. We don't know. B, did you secretly undermine the authority of a local official?
An underhanded comment about how he's bad at his job to what happens to be the head of some sort of secret organization who's very interested in June Willoughby's death.
Indeed, indeed. And did you dote on someone? Yes, you did. Get all those. Ella May, did you dote on someone?
Not really.
You did solve the mystery, though. Did you show someone that you, quote, still got it?
I don't know if diagnosing causes murder counts, but that's about all.
I'll take it. You can mark it because I think that was, you are a medical pro. Although
Right.
it was fairly obvious what happened to him.
One trauma to the head. Well, that one took a lot of work.
Violet, did you share a memory of a late family member?
No, I didn't.
You have a crown still, though, don't you?
I do.
Do you want to go ahead and do that?
Sure.
Since
It
that'll
works
give you
if-
this one. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be pleasant. I think the fondest memory that she has of the late partner is when they're a little bit, it's a little bit younger, but they're still like quite old, and they used to select certain books, such as like probably masterpiece ones, like, or considered masterpiece ones like Ulysses and some other things, and then they would stay up late in their beds and read aloud to each other the alternating chapters, probably, or even maybe actually assigning each other specific characters and then following along, and then each of them verbalizing those specific characters.
Nice. I love it. I was actually going to say, Ella May, I think you're the better answer to "do you still got it" is just the fact that you're still having this little like flirtatious thing with a younger man, right?
Oh,
With Etienne, I
Okay.
think that's more in spirit of the question too. So,
Got it.
going back to Violet, did you? So you've shared your memory, and did you show someone that you still got it?
Does the bathroom scene count? With you tricking everybody?
I don't know about that.
I tricked everyone. Mastermind.
Very good. Let's go to.
So that was a
Stars and
no.
Wishes. That was a no. Let's go Stars and Wishes. All right, Stars and Wishes. Things we enjoyed. Stars, wishes, things we hope to see next time when we meet, not in 1 week, but in 2 weeks on the 6th. Who wants to go first?
Well, for me, I loved that we were wrong. I thought that was very fun. And then I didn't realize that us being wrong was like a permanent thing. I thought we would re-theorize. And then,
You can. It's just up to the keeper to take it wherever the keeper wants at that point. So.
oh, okay. Well, I like the way things turned out a lot, and especially that June is not dead, but was like faking it, and especially because that might tie in, in future stuff with the conspiracy and all that. That's
well, and
quite
if I can
fun.
just chime in real quick, the reason why I made that decision, just so you have some kind of behind the curtain view of things, you've unlocked the part of the conspiracy that lets you learn more about the midwives now. And one of the very first thing, you do these things in order. The very first thing is the mavens hear the midwives of the Fragrant Void for the first time. And so it just seemed like a good opportunity for June to tell you about the conspiracy, right? There's another thing as well that is related to Mrs. Carfax, but I won't say specifically what it is because it's a spoiler. But in any case, obviously Mrs. Carfax is connected to it, right? this old lady who shows up at the 11th hour wearing a ring that looks like the weird crown you found. So I just want to throw that in there. So.
Yeah, and I really liked the text messaging between Etienne and Elena, and I really liked hiding the crowd with Beatrice. That was very fun. So, and I like that Beatrice is sort of like not rolling with my bullshit. Basically like calling me out, and I'm just like, just go with it.
She's a very no nonsense lady, and you have a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, well, that must be why I bake everybody's stuff. And I also really liked the film, and the theorizing actually was really great with June. And then it was just, yeah, it was sort of like a cherry on top that we were wrong, and then June became another red herring, especially after the context of the first one. It was all just very fun. The only wish I had is that I wish I would have realized that I had the Frank Columbo move, so that when I was pursuing that person, meddling, I would have remembered and gotten there. But I also really like discovering the crown, so I don't know.
My stars, I really enjoyed. I thought there was some really great character interactions going on between both the Mavens and various side characters or the suspects. That was really, really enjoyable. I also like the little text message back and forth. That was fun. And I just enjoy I just like it when we start to settle in Brindlewood Bay. My favorite part is when we start to settle into the conspiracy a little bit and start to see some of that come out in the town and the history of the town and all that stuff. It's just fun to see the characters' reactions to it. And I thought the Theorize was really fun and solid. And yeah, my wish is I'm really curious to see if June Willoughby makes a comeback. I got the impression that Sheriff Dalrymple and Etienne are in on it. At least Etienne is in on it because he just happens to be there, right? Like to collect the bodies. And so I'm curious, like, what that whole storyline is, and yeah, and just to see more of the Midwives as well, but also just to see Drew's character come back as well.
I absolutely loved turning on the shower so nobody could eavesdrop on your conversation. It's just like classic sort of Disney afternoon special move. And Sarah, when you had B outside sort of indignantly, "You there, don't just scare people like that." That was really terrific. So those characterizations were excellent. Yeah, and there's you never can go wrong in a spooky story with a film reel that's playing. Like that's just inherently creepy.
Stars for me, I did enjoy a lot of the character back and forth. That's a lot of what I enjoy as a player too, so that was a lot of fun. I just need to comment on Jason's wish. Like, I didn't get that Etienne was part of the conspiracy at all. He got invited by this hot dish he's into to the party, and just happenstancely has room for all of those corpses. So I'm not entirely sold on the conspiracy yet. No, I do look forward to Drew's character getting folded back into the mix. I would have loved to see how his character interacted with the costume kind of like party silliness, but it was also kind of fun, just us mavens too. I do also really like that Ella May does seem to have a lot of getting her hands into the guts of a problem, because that's a character echo to our previous game. So that's just kind of like fun. Yeah, just looking forward to more of this.
Yeah, fabulous. Any other stars or wishes before we go?
Just, missed a storytelling moment when giving Etienne a hug. I forgot that I have 8 arms.
Oh yeah.
I could have given a very much like Black Widow, like, come to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would
I did have one last star I forgot to note. That Violet's move that like morphed into Marcus, the side character, getting all of her phone calls. That was also inspired and quite amazing.
Yeah, it was the only way I could imagine to like work that move in, since Violet's not at the house to take the answering machine messages, right? So yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. It was good. Anything else? Okie doke. So, a little stinger. We see it's nighttime. Somewhere in Brindlewood Bay, though, out in the country. And we see footsteps, slow, halting, but determined footsteps crunching in the grass. Crunch, 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 crunch. And we see Mrs. Carfax, this elderly woman. She has a bundle underneath her arm. She goes to her destination, which is the mouth of the cave, the side of the hillock. She unfurls the paper, and the bundle inside this, wrapped with paper, it's all cuts of meat. Steak, other cuts of meat. And she says to the cave mouth, "I hope you like this, dear. That Ava Cole has really, really fine taste. I hope she won't miss this from the freezers." And we see 3 sets of red glowing eyes in the dark cavern. And something stepping forward out of the darkness to get at the meat. And we just hear the meat being eaten by what sounds like 3 very ravenous dogs. She says, "That's good, that's good. Good, good, good. When you're all done, it'll be time to return to the gate. We'll need you again soon enough." And she gets up, takes the paper, and leaves. I will see you all in 2 weeks. Bye.